Chapter 10, Dignity. It didn't happen overnight, but they stayed. At first, it was quiet. Temporary camps near the water lines. Shared meals. Gear stacked in orderly piles beside fire barrels and cots stitched from tarp and Brotherhood ration blankets. They were polite, disciplined, but separate. That changed by month 3. Elias Ward sat in on more council meetings. Not barking orders, not claiming rank, just listening, like a soldier who understood that power wasn't given anymore, it was earned, over time, and with patience. His paladins began taking repair shifts at the generator sites. Scribes started logging Lancaster's tech stacks, helping catalog and refine systems that had previously been held together with wires, duct tape, and blind hope. One Brotherhood field technician, Ramos, joined Craig's mutant crew on a patrol outside the eastern wall. Ramos didn't flinch when a feral ghoul pack hit them. He covered their flank. And after that, Craig personally carved the Brotherhood's gear symbol into a sheet of iron and hung it from the patrol gate beside Lancaster's own mark. "You fight with us," Craig said, voice low, proud. "You wear the steel." The Brotherhood's medics began to swap notes with Lancaster's field docs. What started as quiet observation turned into full cooperation. By the end of the first cycle, Dr. Keene and Scribe Helena were writing joint medical memos for biohazard cleanup, radiation management, and FEV counter-response in isolated zones. They even taught a class at the Loom Mills Community Hall. Post-war biology for non-idiots. It was packed. In the forge yard, Brotherhood armorers and Lancaster scavvers began working together, hammering out hybrid gear, stronger plates, faster deployment systems, using old world schematics mixed with Lancaster practicality. Someone joked that they were building a new type of power armor. They weren't wrong. By month 5, a small outpost within the mill's southeast wing had been repurposed. A Brotherhood hall, but not as a command structure. As a knowledge vault. They didn't hoard tech here. They shared it. Young apprentices from Lancaster ghoul, mutant, and human alike lined up daily to learn circuitry, power conservation, weapons diagnostics, medical theory. The Brotherhood didn't teach them like outsiders. They taught them like siblings. Some of the oldest residents were skeptical. They remembered the preachers of the old world, the tech hoarders, the steel crusaders who once would have seen a mutant like Craig or a man like Johnny as abominations to be erased. But these ones, these Brotherhood soldiers, they ate the same food, repaired the same broken shelters, fought the same monsters, and eventually, they bled the same. By the first snowfall of year 5, no one called them outsiders. They weren't the Brotherhood of Steel anymore. They were the Steel of Lancaster. Reforged, reclaimed, and at long last home. And then, The alarm hit just before midnight. 3 long chimes followed by a single, sharp toll. That wasn't weather. That wasn't fearless. That was war. Lancaster's western wall lit up with activity. Spotters grabbed scopes, climbed towers. Generators flared, flickering to life. Patrol squads dropped card games and scrambled into formation. From the lookout tower above the loom mill, a young sniper named Wren gripped her scope tighter, eyes locked to the southeastern sky, voice trembling into the shortwave. Vertibirds repeat. Multiple vertibirds over Millersville airspace. Gunfire confirmed. Tracer rounds. Energy signatures unknown type. She paused, heart hammering as she zoomed in on one of the black shapes cutting through the night sky like a wasp from hell. Painted on the side, gold and silver under the spotlights. A stylized eagle over an American shield. But this wasn't any military mark Lancaster had seen. This was new. This was wrong. Johnny was already halfway across the yard, coat snapping behind him, teeth clenched so tight his jaw ached. "Get the tanks," he barked. All 3717 Wrath, Whispering God, and Red Lion. "Get 'em fueled and rolling in 10. I want armor on the road in 5 minutes. Infantry with them. Air recon on standby." Elias was already beside him, pulling on his helmet. "That's not ours." Johnny didn't even look at him. "No shit. This is something new or something we missed. Either way, they're burning Millersville. That makes them ours." By the time Lancaster reached the outskirts, the sky was fire. Millersville was a smear of flame and collapsed concrete. The old university buildings converted into homes and trade halls were now smoking craters. Civilians ran, scattered, limping, carrying children and bloodied tools. And standing in the center of it all, black suits. Power armor, but not like the Brotherhood's. Sleek. High sheen. Insectoid. Devil-like. Red lenses like camera eyes scanning back and forth. Voices barking through encrypted channels, calm, methodical, and absolutely not human in tone. Johnny's boots hit the pavement like gunfire. He didn't wait. Didn't blink. He drew the .44 Magnum, raised it, and fired. Boom. One of the black armored bastards fell, visor cracked clean through, blood mist spraying out behind the helmet as the body tumbled into a ruined storefront. "Hey, you black-suited bastards." His voice carried across the fire and chaos, loud as a goddamn bell tolling over Judgment Day. Lancaster County doesn't give up so easily. The black armored squad turned, weapons raised, sleek plasma rifles humming like vengeful vipers. But Johnny didn't stop. Didn't flinch. He turned to his squad behind him, already flanking around the burning corridor of Millersville's marketplace. "Circle wide. Hit 'em from both sides. I'll hold the line." Crag's mutants charged left, screaming war howls. Elias and two of his Brotherhood teams swung around the right, their fusion cores whirring as salvage T-45s lit up the street with heavy caliber bursts. Johnny walked forward, slow, deliberate. Smoke curling around his boots, his revolver raised like a relic of judgment. Another soldier leveled their weapon. Too slow. Boom. Another one down. Then the tanks rolled in behind him. 717 Wrath leading the charge, its cannon roaring. Kothum. Leveling an entire black armored dropship that had touched down near the campus quad. Johnny didn't slow. Not until he was standing over one of the fallen enemies. The helmet half cracked. The face beneath. Still human. Barely. The skin was pale. Eyes glassy. Mouth muttering something, words like scripture, like command line code. For the future. For the ideal. Johnny stared. And then snarled. I've seen enough ideals built on fire and bodies. He raised the revolver again. Welcome to Lancaster. Now get the fuck out. And he pulled the trigger. The gunfire hadn't stopped in 20 minutes. Explosions cracked like lightning across shattered pavement. Plasma bolts lit the smoke-choked air in bursts of green and violet. Millersville was on fire. And the black armored bastards just kept coming. Johnny dropped to one knee behind a collapsed bus frame, blood splattered up his forearm, jaw clenched so tight he could feel it crack. He shouted over the rattle of suppressing fire from a Brotherhood emplacement. How the hell are there so many of them? Elias ducked behind cover beside him, reloading his plasma caster, eyes burning through his visor. I don't know. But numbers don't mean shit without real battle instinct. They're clunky. Over-rehearsed. This is textbook old world bullshit. Johnny peeked over cover. Three more of the black armored soldiers advancing in a triangle formation. Too tight, too slow, their coordination perfect but predictable. They're running pre-war playbooks. He watched one of them raise a rifle exposed midsection. No cover. Johnny fired. Boom. The round punched through the side of the armor like it was pressed tin. Too bad for them, times have changed. He rose up from cover, pistol still smoking, and barked out a command across the comms. Split up. Brotherhood and mutants take the soldiers. Use brute force and close quarters. They're weak at mid-range. Humans and ghouls focus fire on those vertibirds. Bring those bastards down. Across the battlefield, the tide turned. Crag's crew, 8 mutants in reinforced hybrid armor, rushed the line with warhammers and jury-rigged sledge launchers, their roars shaking the burning storefronts. One mutant caught a black soldier mid-stride, lifted him off the ground, and slammed him into the pavement with such force it cracked the concrete. You're not the only ones who wore power armor. Elias led 2 Brotherhood paladins in a V formation, pushing through plasma fire and unloading short bursts of armor-piercing rounds. One of the black suits tried to flank left. Too late. Elias drew a combat blade and shoved it up through the chin guard, twisting until the soldier dropped. Overhead, the vertibirds swooped in lower, hovering too confidently, exposing their rotors. Johnny's comm lit up. This is Ren on Overwatch. Eyes on tail rotor taking the shot. Crack. The first vertibird spun, sputtered, and exploded mid-air, raining burning debris across what used to be Millersville's main square. Below, Ghoul riflemen took aim at the second bird. Helena, yes, Helena fired a homemade rocket from behind a shattered newsstand. The blast clipped the undercarriage, ruptured a fuel line. Krakoom. Another gone. Johnny gritted his teeth, ducked beneath a burst of plasma, then launched forward, closing the distance between him and another black armored soldier. This one turned to face him, stance wide, confident. Civilian, stand down. This is a containment operation. Boom. Johnny didn't let him finish. The Magnum roared, and the helmet crumpled like wet paper. He wiped blood from his cheek. You picked the wrong county to play war in. The city hadn't fallen. Millersville was still bleeding. But Lancaster was fighting back. And the ghosts of the old world? They just learned that the new world wasn't going to roll over and die. Johnny was moving before the smoke cleared from his last shot. The black-suited soldier crumpled behind him, another burned wreck in a war these bastards had no business starting. He tapped into the city-wide combat channel, voice sharp, commanding, cutting through the chaos like a blade. We need to even the playing field. Their numbers are good, but they don't know this ground like we do. Start pushing them west and north. Get them into the feral zones. Elias's voice answered immediately through the comms. We've got a bottleneck forming near the southern rail path. I can move my squad through and collapse the alleyways behind us. That'll funnel them into the South Water Ruins right into feral turf. Crag broke in next, his voice a growl even over radio. I'll flank from the riverside. Mutants can draw attention, keep them distracted. If the ferals don't get them, we'll crush what's left. Johnny moved fast, reloading the Magnum as he jogged across the fractured courtyard of Millersville's main square. Civilians were being pulled out through the eastern exits by Lancaster med teams. Burned, limping, screaming but alive. That was enough. For now. He stopped behind a half-destroyed transit terminal and barked orders to a mixed squad of Brotherhood, ghouls, and Lancaster-born militia. You four, with me. Collapse the west barricades, funnel them down the civic corridor. Once they're clear of the campus, do not follow. That entire section is feral territory. Let nature do what it does best. One of the younger fighters, a half-radiated farm kid from just south of Rowerstown, looked nervous. Sir, won't the ferals attack us too? Johnny looked him dead in the eye, that faint, unnatural glow pulsing under the bruises and grit on his face. They will. So stay the hell out of their way. The black armored soldiers didn't notice at first. They kept pushing tactical formations, methodical advances, plasma bursts punching holes in walls and bodies alike. But their strategy wasn't evolving. And Lancaster's was. They started to fragment. Fall for the traps. Pursue targets into deeper, darker ruins. And then came the howls. High-pitched, ragged, inhuman. Dozens. No hundreds. Out from collapsed stairwells and subway tunnels, from holes beneath burned-out churches and tunnels blocked since the Great War, they came. Ferals. Not slow. Not dumb. These were fast. Desperate. Many in pieces, dragging themselves forward on shattered limbs, but their eyes those burning yellow sockets locked on the new scent in their ruins. Clean armor. Steady breath. Tech. The old world. Johnny heard the screams first over comms, one of the black soldiers shrieking as a feral tore through his helmet. Then another. Then three. Vertibirds scrambled to reposition. Too late. The trap snapped shut. Lancaster's forces pulled back, leaving behind rigged demo charges, misdirection flares, and false retreat patterns. And the black suits? They kept fighting. But now they were fighting something they couldn't outmaneuver. Something without fear. Without tactics. Just teeth and fire and the ghosts of the county they thought they could claim. Back on the ridge, watching the flames grow brighter in the distance, Johnny breathed deep, sweat soaking through his shirt, blood drying along his jawline. Helena appeared behind him, panting. You knew they'd go that way. Johnny nodded once. Millersville's old civic corridor leads straight into Feral Hollow. They didn't check the maps. They thought they were the monsters. He holstered his magnum. They're learning real fast. And in the distance, the shrieking grew louder. The sky lit up green one last time as a vertibird veered hard left, smoke pouring from its side engine, spiraling away from Millersville's wreckage and disappearing into the ash-blurred night. Another tried to climb higher but dipped fast, limping westward in full retreat. Then came the quiet. Not silence, but that hollow, post-war hush where fires crackle and bodies still twitch in the dirt. The last black armored soldier was gurgling on his own breath 50 feet from where Johnny stood. And no one moved to help him. Johnny turned away, boots grinding scorched pavement under heel, watching the birds vanish one by one over the tree line. They're retreating. He didn't smile. Didn't relax. He just looked at the smoldering crater that used to be Millersville, fists clenching. Good. Elias appeared beside him, armor scraped and flecked with plasma scars, helmet tucked under one arm. You think they'll come back? Johnny didn't answer at first. just looked at the horizon glowing with the breath of a battle still cooling. Then he said it. Millersville can't be salvaged. Pull the survivors back to Lancaster. Get them under watch. Food, water, trauma rotation. Keep the kids away from the fires. He turned to the nearest field commander, voice steady and cold. Tell the tanks to roll slow. We're not leaving anyone behind. Milo staggered up with a cracked shoulder blade, still smirking like he'd just cheated death again. They sure didn't fight like scavers or tech cults. You think this is some pre-war remnant? Vault-Tec gone feral. Johnny just shook his head. No. This wasn't chaos. This wasn't improvisation. This was infrastructure. Planning. Training. He knelt beside a fallen soldier, black armor smoking, face burned beyond use. But the chest plate still bore the eagle and shield emblem, still gleaming. No name. No rank. Just the symbol. Helena, breathing hard, joined them, crouching beside the body. We've got no intel on this group. None of the archives match the emblem. No broadcast frequencies. No comm chatter that we could crack. It's like they appeared from thin air. Johnny stood again, voice colder than before. They didn't appear. They've been waiting. He looked back toward Lancaster's direction, back toward home, where kids were learning to walk in reclaimed streets, where mutants and ghouls were training side by side, where tech from the old world was finally being used to build, not destroy. And one thing's for certain. His voice dropped, like thunder wrapped in gravel. There's thousands of them. He looked at Elias. We need to find out who the hell these bastards are. Where they're from. What they want. And how to kill them better next time. The convoy started moving. Lancaster didn't leave with victory songs. They left with smoke in their lungs, blood on their armor, and a name that still had no face. Not yet. But soon. It would.